Good morning. It's Monday, March 3rd, about 6 a.m. Central Time. Thanks for joining me. I'm Philip Streible, Chief Market Strategist at Blue Line Futures. Let's get you ready for the trading day. Let's look at precious metals, futures, commodity markets, some of the headlines that I'm following here. So you look at the precious metals overnight, the futures are significantly higher. You look at April gold up $36, 28.85 last high of the overnight session, 28.88. That 28.85 was an old support number, also an old resistance number. So we'll see that should be about the pivot here for the day. The low of the overnight session was 28.66, and the low on Friday was just below that 28.50. That was a key level of support in a long-term trend line. A lot of people added positions down at that level there, and they were thinking that it's playing this giant upwards channel and this big range that's going on. If you look at gold before, it traded in about $150 range back and forth, and it was a large consolidation phase that occurred. I think that we're joining back into one of those. If you look to last Thursday, it was at 29.35. The market fell $44. Had it had gone up $44, we'd have an all-time high going on, and we'd be threatening that $3,000 mark. I really believe that $3,000 will occur. It's just going to take a little bit more time. And the reality is that it was just 5 sessions ago that we were at that all-time high right around 29.74 on the April contract. You look at silver futures up 64 cents, 32.15, 31.63. Excuse me, was the overnight low. You go to copper up 5 cents, sitting at 460. Platinum futures banging on a new high right now, up 26 bucks at 963. Palladium 940 up $28. The gold silver ratio backing into that 89-1. You look at the outside markets here. U.S. equities, huge rally on Friday, one of the biggest rallies that we've seen in a while. Market got up to that 6,000 mark in the overnight session on the S&P, and that could be just a mild psychological number in resistance. The dollar index significantly lower. The British pound and the euro currency and the Canadian dollar all exploding overnight here. You got grain futures just pulling back a bit. Corn down 3, beans down 1, wheat up 1. So not really anything going on in that market. And the cryptocurrencies was all the discussion and all the rave here over the weekend. I couldn't keep up with everyone with my phone just blowing up with questions surrounding the cryptocurrencies. Up about $9,000 right now at 93,500 on that March Bitcoin contract. So the headlines that I was reading here, the crypto rallies on a reserve plan. So Donald Trump announced that he'd also include XRP, Solana, and Cardano in that particular reserve. It's a strategic crypto reserve, and he used some of the terminology that people were looking for. So, the question is do they continue to accumulate Bitcoin over a period of time, like set things like we will buy 1 million Bitcoin over the next 20 years, and we're going to do it with this type of funding on a continuous basis here. And then that's where you really start to see that rally and that takeoff occur. A lot of people were waiting for low 80s to 75,000 on Bitcoin, and that number hit, just like 28.50 support on the gold market, just like 31.50 on silver. So you start to look at these markets where they trade these big ranges, and what I always say is plan your trade your plan, map out your levels, stick to the process here. The process generally always works out. If you stick to it, you monitor your position size and you pay attention to average true range, things like that, is that where you get yourself in a great position and you could steadily grow things here. It's when you violate certain things with over positioning in the markets, not having a trading plan. That's where I see traders really fail the most. So looking at these tariffs here on Canada, Mexico, and China, President Trump, he's planning to announce those new tariffs on Canada and Mexico, as well as doubling the tariff on China. So that's where things got a little bit dicey here in the markets, is how they would respond to it. So the tariffs they would do 25% on all imports on Canada and Mexico. Canadian Energy is only going to get a 10% raise. Trump said he'd double that tariff on China to 20%. So he could delay these tariffs. He could have them just temporary. He could be using it as another negotiation tool. Now, something else that we had been monitoring and everyone was talking about, that exchange between Zelensky and Trump. Zelensky came out and said that he would have another meeting if he was invited to discuss things with President Trump. I would expect that to be much more staged, much more prepared if that occurs. Really what everyone's going for and what the U.S. is going for is those natural resource deal oil and the mineral rights to a lot of different things. Ukraine is quite rich in it, and I think that would be a strategic land grab by us in America by having these potential minerals that they have. And I think that that's really where Trump does his best, is negotiating for different things that could really improve, the U.S. and our resources that we have here, bring down some of the inflation, and kind of expand some of the things that we have here. Now back to China, because this is where I think that the precious metals and the industrial metals took off, and this is why you got that gold-silver ratio dropping to 89-1, is that two things occurred. You had signs of a Chinese factory recovery. So China's official manufacturing purchasers manager index, it unexpectedly returned to a level that's signs of expansion. So that's where you get your copper going up, your platinum, your palladium, your silver all going up. And then the second thing was this is President Xi Jinping prepares to unveil a Chinese stimulus plan as the trade war kind of heats up here. So he's going to speak with the China's National People's Congress about the economy. They want to achieve their 5% goal. They are going to have to implement additional stimulus measures in order to do that. And the stimulus measures may increase because of the fact that they're raising those tariffs on up to 20%, at least the US. So a lot of these particular markets here, especially in the metals, if you look down at kind of what the trends have been here, copper has been the strongest. Gold has pulled back with that sell-off back to a neutral trend. Silver and platinum have triggered shorts because of the giant sell-off in the market, but those shorts are red flags because the date that they had clicked in was where we hit a key level of support, the 50-day moving average, and also we're starting to turn higher immediately. So the key level that I'm going to be watched on that silver market is going to be about this 31.75 down to about 31.50 kind of pocket support. We don't want to see it take out that Friday low there, and we got down to about 31.36.5. Now silver, because of the higher beta, the higher volatility in that market, tends to overshoot. That's why we have more pocket support, pocket resistance on these not specific hard numbers like 28.50 on the gold market, where that market doesn't have the volatility, and we see key levels of support hold. So 28.28 is not where you want to see that gold market close below. 29.28 is where you want to see the market close above. That would trigger it back into a bull market here. $1,000 is going to be your psychological resistance on the platinum market, and it's really $995 because I think the sellers will front run that $1,000. I think $992 to $998 is really where your critical level of support. We have a ton of things coming out here this week with the jobs number on Friday here and the unemployment rate, but we'll have some ISM data, some manufacturing data all coming out here today, construction spending, things like that. We all want to see this expand. So you guys got any questions, give me a call, 312-858-7303. Remember, futures option trading, it does involve risk of loss, may not be suitable to all investors. Good luck, good trading.